Jamal Green is a neighborhood advocate and 2023 candidate for mayor of the city of Chicago. Jamal has dedicated over half his life to creating a better future that we can all believe in. Jamal has always been on the right side of the truth, taking action and getting results. He stood up against the most powerful politicians to help pass legislation. Jamal continues to be a champion for the most vulnerable residents in order to create a unified Chicago. As the founder of Majesty All Stars, a nonprofit with the mission of empowering marginalized youth and encouraging self-improvement through training, mentoring, and guidance, his passion for fostering youth leadership and outreach has made him a trusted and respected figure amongst many of Chicago's adolescents. He believes that creating generational wealth is one of the keys to ending poverty, violence, and inequities within the city. Without the fancy title, Jamal's impact has been felt all over the country. And with that, I welcome Jamal Green, the youngest candidate to run for mayor of the city of Chicago, to Decolonize to Thrive.
All right, now. Thank you so much for having me. Beautiful introduction. Amazing to see you, Ina. You are just so amazing, such an amazing person with a vision.
Thank you.
That should be infectious. And so really thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate those kind words too. You are definitely one of my biggest inspirations. So thank you for just the ways that you've inspired me that you probably don't even know about. So obviously you're busy, you're running for mayor. And so I hope that you will speak a little bit about that today. But I just wanted to open up the floor and give you a moment if you want to introduce yourself or if there's anything you want to share with the podcast audience before I get into a couple of questions.
Well, you said a lot. I'm Jamal Green. I've been doing the work to make sure that everyone has rights to live a life of happiness, right? I grew up in poverty to a single mother, only boy in a neighborhood that was very violent, where I had to give my last few dollars. I had more than a lot of other people in the neighborhood, but we didn't have much, right?
Right.
So I might have $10 and my friend got $2. So, I got to give an extra couple dollars to him to make sure that he can eat. And just seeing the conditions and seeing all of the problems that folks are facing in the neighborhoods, the most vulnerable people, right? One of the first mindsets that young people have is that, man, if I hit the lottery or get a good job, I'm out of here, right? I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And I think it's been that mindset for a lot of politicians of like, they get that position of power and they never even go back to see, talk to the people that they're supposed to be serving. And it just makes no sense that in America, people who built this country, who built the White House that they're governing in, and so much sweat equity that was given, not donated, obviously. But we're years down the line, and those people, those folks, the next generations are still suffering today, right? Are still in a form of slavery, are still in neighborhoods that go disinvested in, and schools where they're vastly uneducated, and jobs that they can't even access. And so the wages that most folks are making on the south and west side of Chicago is below 20 an hour, right? You don't have people in these neighborhoods, and it's like this around the country, but definitely in Chicago on the south and west sides, you have a very small few that have a middle class job that's even making $50,000 or more. In America, $20 an hour is like the minimum that you can make to even afford a 1-bedroom apartment. And so when that, when you just see the conditions of neighborhoods and how we have constantly been treated all of these years. I grew up seeing that, I had the first mindset to leave. And then I grew up having the mindset that, no, this needs to be changed.
Right.
Humans, regardless of color, and especially those of color who's given so much to this country,
Mm-hmm.
deserve to live a life free of violence, being able to be educated, making sure that kids can have proper education, making sure that they can get a good job so that they can put money to the side to put their kids through college or have trust funds or invest. They should have the opportunity
That's
to
right.
be able to live the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in
Mm-hmm.
America. And so that's what I'm fighting for today, and I fought for over half my life.
Yes, you just said so much. And it's like the most marginalized, most vulnerable communities continue to still pay the price for the inequity. So I'm so grateful for the work that you do, and that you've always done, which leads me into one of the questions I wanted to ask you. As someone who continues to break barriers, because you do, and you prove what's possible for young people, especially. What do you think sets you apart? What gave you the mindset that you had the ability to change any of this?
The man above, I think that, I call myself humbly, one of the 12 disciples.
Okay.
It's like, I was given gifts that, and basically an obligation of, all right, go out there and do what you're supposed to do with those gifts. It wasn't something that I decided to do. It wasn't something that I wrote in my book at a young age and said, hey, this is what I want to do. I didn't imagine at 10, 11, 12 years old that I'll be running for mayor at 27. I didn't imagine that I'll be an activist and organizer who've done a lot of the work that I've done. I didn't imagine none of that. It was never in my book. And I think the path was put in front of me. Circumstances happened. The Kwame McDonald video released. And I'm pushed out in the forefront to lead a movement, right? It's just been in all of these cases throughout the years, and every fight that I've fought, every situation that I stood up for, every time it was time to have a voice for communities, and I stood up and was that voice when people wouldn't speak because it was unpopular. They were scared that they were going to get attacked. And at all of those moments, the path was put in front of me, and it wasn't a moment that I was dreaming about. And so that's why I always say that, I'm like a disciple that God said, here are a bunch of gifts that, that other people may not have. And I want you to utilize these gifts to really help people in these neighborhoods, uplift people, make them feel like they can be more, and then open the door for them so that they can be more, right? That's just been my mission, is to elevate people and make them understand their fullest potential, and then open the door for them to go and fulfill it.
Wow. So just so I understand this, it was never really in your plan to go into activism. So running for mayor wasn't something you necessarily thought about as a kid, or that you always wanted to do, but just opportunities to use your voice and speak on behalf of your community and to do what's right, really, has just opened doors for you.
Just be on the right side of the truth. And being on the right side of the truth came with people liking me. So that's where the popularity came from. And, it was nothing that, like I said, I didn't know that this would get, people paying attention to me. No, I was just doing what I thought was the right thing to do. Like, they put a microphone in my face and showed me a video of a kid getting shot 16 times. I'm going to tell you exactly my experience, my experiences in my neighborhood and how we've been treated. And somehow that's popular. Why is it popular? Because the majority of the people who feel like me don't get their voices heard. The majority of people in these neighborhoods who get beat down by police, or their schools are underfunded, or their parents are barely making ends meet, lights cut off, living in these conditions. those people nobody goes to them and say, how are you living? Nobody goes to them and say, tell us your story. And so now you got this young kid from the hood who is not afraid to speak about his experiences and to stand up for the fact that there's another kid that's his age that was shot 16 times, and somehow it's popular.
Yeah.
And so I've been the voice of the unheard, but like I said, it was just me doing what I thought was just the right thing to do and saying the things that were just true.
Right. So from what I understand about you, you've always kind of been very outspoken, right? Is that accurate? So
just speaking the truth.
Speaking the truth, but also the history I know about you. So just for the podcast audience, like how we even crossed paths was because I was teaching 8th grade, a class called Seminar. I was able to create my own curriculum. And one of the units I wanted to be all about Chicago and the history of Chicago. I was looking for videos on YouTube, and I ran across a video that you were in, where you were talking about the history of the segregation in the city and like CPS schools being closed down and, boarded up buildings, and how we need to invest in our communities. And I was so impacted by that video and how young you were. And knowing our students, they always learn better from young people than they do from adults. And I was like, I wonder if he would come speak with us. And, the fact that you actually came was amazing. But what I remember about your story was you were kicked out of a lot of schools. And that tells me a little bit about you, just even from a young age. You may not have seen this being something that would come to fruition, or maybe you didn't plan, but you always were willing, apparently, to use your voice. Can you speak to us a little bit about your experience in schools and, what was that
you're
like?
exactly right. You're exactly right. I wish I would have had you as a teacher growing up. And, I think that you are an amazing teacher, and I was so excited to come to that classroom.
Thank you.
I've had a lot of trouble in school growing up. And when I look back and I look at who I am today, probably the same person. I was just a little younger.
Right.
And, whether it was not being challenged, whether it was the mistreatment or how we were being educated, or the curriculum, or just the structure of school, period. It just didn't go well with me, right? And I was one who always would speak up. I was the kid who was able to get the kids to follow and be like, yeah, that's right. And then the administration is like, all right, nah, you got too much power. You got to go
too much.
Else, And so then I go to another school and be like, I got kicked out of better places. And so, I was kicked out of 9 schools. And I think that, looking back, and a lot of those teachers and principals are my biggest fans now.
I bet.
And at the time, they told me that I was going to be either dead or in jail. And not because I was gang banging, because I wasn't gang banging. I've never sold drugs. I've never done any criminal activity. But I was just someone in school that either that wasn't challenged, that felt the structure of school wasn't right, that spoke up against authority figures who I felt were not being fair, were not doing what they were supposed to do. And I was outspoken. And so that got me displaced many times. But it is a testimony for me now today, because so many my mentees, I got so many mentees that don't do well in school. And I got so many young people that are on the streets right now, 15, 16 years old, carjacking, dropped out. And the structure of school is just not for them. We got to make sure that young people have an outlet, that young people have schools and institutions that invest in them. And it takes great people in those schools to do so. And someone like you're just so amazing to be able to have a classroom of kids be able to see a video of me and say, I want to get this person here, to create your own curriculum and inspire those young people how you do. And I mean, it's just, we need more of you in our school. And that's one of the biggest things that I want to see as mayor.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that feedback. And everything you said is just so true. I no longer operate in traditional school systems, but the work that I do is still very much so geared towards, changing the way that school operates, especially for students of color. And all the data is pointing to our Black boys, and our Black girls, and not being able to have their needs met in the way that school is currently structured. And I mean, of all institutions that have, changed with the times and evolved, schools still are stagnant. So I know that that's one of your focal points as mayor, and I'm happy to hear that, and excited about what's possible under your leadership as it relates to education.
Yeah, for sure. It's big to me. It's a priority.
Absolutely. So another thing I want to ask you, because you are young, and even despite your age, though, you have the experience, you have the drive, and what it takes to lead this city in the way that it needs to be led. There are so many people who truly don't believe in the power of politics in general. Sure. And, they have given up hope for what it means to see any type of positive change, especially for a city like Chicago that does have so much history and unfortunately corruption, right? Like that's just a real part of politics, especially in the city. So what do you say to those people who don't believe in the power of politics to make positive change?
Well, first, let me say one of the things that you missed when you said that I'm young, and you said a bunch of things. You forgot handsome, right? And I think
some things never change.
It's important, right? It's important. It helps, right? It helps. I think if I was not handsome,
but yes,
right. I mean, if I wasn't handsome, I don't think I'd probably be this far. I'm, be honest. They let us, nice looking folks get a little further. But anyway, but no, seriously, I think there's a lot of people, not even just young people, that don't have hope, right?
Right.
We always talk about young people because they expect young people to do more.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the numbers, majority of every generation don't vote. And just so happened, the percentage is a little bit smaller for the older generation because most of them transition all the time. So when you look at it, the vast majority of every single generation do not vote. Now, as far as young people, it's important that we actually understand young people, right? Understand this generation. I think what we do every generation is be like, young people, we have such a generational gap. Literally every generation has been that way for generations. And instead of understanding the generation today, right? Things are different. This generation is different. They got way more technology than the last generation.
Right.
They think differently. Every generation has its differences.
Yeah.
We need to understand this generation and how they look to live their lives, and it's their future. Gen Z, I mentor a lot. And when I say mentor, I don't tell what to do, right? I'm more of just a guide. We need to, every prior generation, even before me, be a guide. Don't tell me what to do.
Right.
Guide me in the direction that I should be going in. Guide me down that path, even if you don't agree with the direction. Still guide me through how I can get through the path that I've set forth, right?
Yes.
And if I, at some point, understand that this path is a dead end, then, I obviously can make adjustments at that point. But because I'm young, I'm able to go down as many paths as I want. Any path that I see fit until I see and feel that this is right. And young people need that, right? and that's why I always talk about Black culture and I always say, stop putting your kids out of 18, right?
Yeah.
Because they need an opportunity all the way up. I say 25 is my age, and sometimes, further than that. 25 is the scientific age of when the brain is actually developed.
Right.
But they need the opportunity to make mistakes. They need the opportunity
That's
to,
so true.
open up a business and fail,
Yes.
or open up a business and succeed. Or,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do this instead. I want to travel abroad. I want to, they need the
Yeah.
opportunity to be able to figure their life out. And what's happening is that we're constantly putting a speed, we're speeding up young people's life when we're telling them what to do as they grow up. We tell them, you got to go to school and get straight A's. You're going to school every single day for each day. And then they get to become a teenager, and now they've done everything we told them to do in school. Now we're looking at them saying, hey, be ready, because you got to get up out of here. And we just speed their life up. And I think young people need guidance. Young people need support. Young people need to be heard, right? What are the issues that matter to you, right? What can help make your life better? What are some things that you need to have that you didn't have?
Yes.
These are the conversations that needs to happen with young people. Instead of saying, hey, you 18, get out of my house and go vote.
Yeah.
We need to be more understanding of young people. And we need to also support young people that are running for office that can relate more to their generation than we do. That means that you should not be 80 years old and still in power, because many generations have happened, and it's a big difference than it was back then. And you should be guiding. Why do people feel, we got to get this power thing out the way?
Yes.
And it happens in every race. But I'm only speaking about mine. I hate it in our race. Why do we think that we should be in a seat for 50 years? And that's right there is telling, right? And what's telling to me is that, I got a lot of older folks that say, oh, wait your turn. When I'm gonna I gotta wait till y'all die to get my turn.
Right.
Let's be honest. You've been in that seat 50 years, and you telling me that you ain't found no nice young person.
Right. Yeah.
You couldn't mentor in 50 years. You've been in the seat 25, 35, 40 years. You telling me you didn't have one young person that that came around you that you could have molded and guided to take your position.
True.
There have been plenty. But it's you with the greed and
that power
to keep that power. But then when somebody like me come and be like, we blowing it all up, we taking this. Now it's like, oh no, you too radical. You need to go sit down. We shouldn't. I shouldn't have to step up and say I'm taking something. You should be coming and say, hey, we see the work that you've been doing in the community. How can we, guide? I'll step down and next term, and we'll all support you. This is how it should be going. And so when you look at young people and why they don't vote, why they don't care about politics, I mean, look at all those different reasons. Why should they? Is it not? It's not benefiting them. They don't get the support. They don't get pushed into positions of power. And we got to change that. And we're going to change that.
You're right. They don't see any real representation that is even possible at their ages. That's a really good point. You said you dropped some gems just now. Even as a parent, I'm thinking like this idea of letting our teenagers make mistakes. It's like historically Black children especially don't get to do that.
No,
we can't make mistakes. It's like we got to have it all together. We got to have a plan, and it's just not fair.
And it's not the parents' fault, right? Because if you think throughout history and the generations, we've been that way since slavery, right? We're still dealing with the remnants of that. We got to be on. We got to be on at 10 toes. We got to
survival mode.
Do it. We got to grind. We got to. This has always been that. We've never had time to stop.
To rest.
So we put it in our kids. Like, you got to go to school, go to work, go to school, go to work, go to
Figure
school,
it
go
out.
to work. Figure it out. And that's just not how other ethnicities are. I see a lot of You know, I got a lot of Caucasian friends who got kids, and I be around them, and they be, you know, their conversation is different. Their
Yeah.
how they live is a little bit different. They know that they can make mistakes. Like they're not thinking about I gotta walk to school, dodge bullets. I don't know what
Yes.
I'm gonna eat today. I don't have
Right.
no money in my pocket. My mom having problems. My mom have a relationship. Like
Yeah.
it's so much stuff that you know our kids think about when they go out, right? And you know, being stuck in survival mode. And then you have on the other side families that have not went through what we went through generationally and not going through what we're going through today, and their kids can like, I'm just going to school, mom, please, I don't want to do that, or I'm just going to school and I'll think about what I want to be later. Like it's the life they get to control the pace of their life.
That's
And
right.
when you can control the pace of your life, 9 times out of 10, you know, you can create a better path for yourself, right? Because
Yes.
you can come into what you want to do. But with us, since we moving so fast, we making mistakes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I went and bought a car because I needed a car. And then the car got repoed. Now my credit bad. Like I can't buy a house. Like, you know, now I
Yeah.
need a job. I mean, I got $100,000 of school debt, and I my car got like it's just
Yeah.
it's go go
Continual.
go go go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's real. It's real.
Yeah. And I think that's why your focus on you know, generational wealth is so important, because
Yeah.
if there's something for them to fall back on, then they can have the ability to, you know, explore their creative outlets or make mistakes. But if you in survival mode and you're just trying to hold it together, you don't have that flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody wants to rest. Everybody wants to give their kids a chance to explore, but
Yeah.
without the
Everybody don't have the
resources,
luxury to do that.
yeah,
And
or the means to do
yeah,
it,
is to
you
do it.
know,
And I
it.
promise my kids and myself that I
Mhm.
would get it. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't have it. I was forced to figure it out.
Yeah.
I figured it out. I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes I still have to unwind today, right?
Yeah.
That mistakes I wouldn't have made if I would have had certain guidance or certain support or financial resource or any, you know. And so, you know, now it's up to us to really do our best to make sure our kids have the ability to
Yes.
explore and change their lives, which can change ours. And so
Mhm.
I made that decision to do that for my kids. I'm paying the price for it each and every day. But I want them to go out and be who you want to be and not rush or push them to do anything. And that's what's important. And that's why generational wealth is important. We got to
It
have ownership.
is.
We have to, um, you know, we have to play the game in America. You know, unfortunately, this is not one of the other countries that care about people who don't have money, right? They only
Right.
care about people who do have money.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have money, all they're gonna do is keep stumping on you in America. You know,
Mhm.
capitalism, what they created after they stole this land, it's just ruined us, ruined it so bad, and ruined this country so bad, and ruined us. You know, we got to find our way out of it and help pull each other up.
Yes. 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 So as we wrap up, I want to ask you to leave the podcast audience with a word or a couple of words about what's one small thing they can do today, you know, just to improve, whether it's their communities or to take back their power or whatever it is. What is one small thing you think that we can all do to improve this city?
Do something. You know, I think a lot of the problem is we've been working so hard that now folks like to, and we got technology. Now folks like to just sit back and just complain. Uh, you know, like we need to be now in a position where like especially those of previous generations, like we got to pull ourselves out of where we are to really make a better pathway for our kids, right? So now it's
Yes.
like we have to do what we have to do because the next generations can't go through this. We
Right.
should not leave this planet knowing that our kids are going to deal with the same exact thing that we dealt with.
Issues. Yeah.
Because then
Yeah.
we failed.
Yeah.
And so pick an issue, pick something that's important to you, build generational wealth, right? Those things are important. Get a piece of property. Yeah, it's easier said than done. But the first thing you could do is you can go to my FICO and pull your credit and figure out how you get your credit together. You know what I'm saying? Invest in yourself to get your credit together.
Yep.
Manage your credit cards how you're supposed to manage it. And, get into a program like My Turn to Own, or a program that's going to help you become a homeowner, or flip a piece of property with a few friends. Collaboration is key, right, for us right now.
Yes, it is. Always. Yep.
Don't try to do anything alone. That's my advice. So if you got somebody that is out there flipping, a family friend or somebody that is flipping properties, go ask him to do a property with you or her. If you know somebody that got a nonprofit organization, is doing some of the things that you would want to do, go and volunteer and see how you can be a part of that organization.
Right.
Need collaboration.
True.
Everybody wants to do everything on their own.
Yeah.
That's not how we gain power. That is not how we build generational wealth. We should have, there should be a million LLCs in this country right now of 3 or 4 or 5 Black people or more, all on that LLC, making decisions together for those properties. You know what I'm saying? Like collaboration. That's what I met a person, a donor of mine's, at his restaurant, beautiful restaurant that he built. He was not Black. And he gave me a check out of, from his kids. He got plenty of pieces of property. So one of the pieces of property that has rental income, he put in his kid's name. Another one, he got his kid's name. So they got their own account.
Wow.
Tied to the property. This is I bought you a property. This rental income, this is yours. This is, as you grow up, this is your property. Like, we have to we got to teach financial literacy.
Yes.
Teach somebody else. You got a good credit card, go put 20 people on it around you to help build their credit. This is the time we got to collaborate and work together.
Yes.
How are we gonna get out of this? And that's what's the most important part.
Yes, love that. 30 seconds or a minute. What's bringing you joy?
You are bringing me joy right now. The Black woman magic right here.
Thank you.
But what brings me joy is our young people.
Young people, I love that.
Yes.
Love your babies.
It is, it's a lot, right? It's a lot.
It is.
But it's a lot, really, watching our young people, knowing the world that they're stepping into.
Yeah.
Knowing that in a matter of years, they'll be dealing with these problems, knowing that something could happen to them as they walk to school or to and from home. That's what gives me the passion and the joy, because I know that every time we succeed in something, every time we get some form of results, that is saving one of those young people or more, or making opening the door for them to go in. And so yeah, our young people, that's what gives me joy, just watching them be young.
Yeah.
Scared, because when they get older, they don't know what they're coming into.
True. So, yeah. Well, I thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out. I know you're busy, but it has been nothing but a pleasure to have you on the podcast. And I know that we will collaborate again. I don't know how or where, but we're going to collaborate again soon.
Of course we will. Thank you. I appreciate
Thank you.